Republicans not make that accusation that she's a DEI hire? Did Republicans not? Did Republicans not? It is. It is. If another Republican says something and they're within your party, I think it's fair to ask you what you think about it, sir.
Let's talk about this appropriately now.
We are.
Boris, let's talk about this appropriately.
Pete Buttigieg recently tweeted out, "Remember that all of this is a strategy. The politics of outrage and insult are the last refuge of a politician who cannot defend his own plans." And this tweet perfectly encapsulates the strategy that Donald Trump is likely to take on the debate stage against VP Kamala Harris tonight. Now, he can't defend his plans. He doesn't really have any plans. So what does he do? He fearmongers. He's going to say that if Kamala Harris wins, we won't have a country anymore. The economy will collapse. The stock market will tank. We'll be plunged into World War III. Israel will cease to exist. All of this apocalyptic rhetoric that he has used in the past will come out on stage tonight. He's going to try to frighten the American people into voting for him, whereas VP Kamala Harris will talk about policy and hope and a forward-looking vision. Now, since today is debate day, we have a lot of news to cover. All of these politicians are doing media hits. The Democrats are going on Fox News. The Republicans are going on CNN. It is all going down. So we have a lot to cover, and we don't have a lot of time. Make sure you leave a like on the video below and make sure you watch until the end to help boost this pro-democracy message. Let's start off here with Laura Trump making an appearance on CNN, and she is pushed on Donald Trump's election fraud claims, and she crumbles very, very quickly. Take a look.
Laura, I also want to ask you about something he posted recently on Truth Social, where he actually called on the RNC, the organization you're a co-chair of, to activate now, and this was around mail-in voting. He said, he was quoting Tucker Carlson here with an election expert, that 20% of mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania are fraudulent. Here we go again. Where is the Attorney General, the FBI to investigate? Where is the Republican Party in Pennsylvania? The RNC must activate now. Now, in August, the RNC, your RNC, and the Trump campaign launched a Get Out to Vote tool where Pennsylvania voters can request a mail-in ballot directly. Is the former president saying that Republicans in Pennsylvania should not ask for these ballots?
And no, quite the opposite. Donald Trump wants every voter, no matter if you're voting Republican, Democrat, or third-party candidate, to feel comfortable that you can vote.
20% of them are fraudulent?
He's specifically referencing information from the 2020 election. What we're talking about right now is making sure that every vote matters and every vote counts. And I've worked very hard.
What information do we have? What evidence is there that 20% of the mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania in 2020 were fraudulent?
I didn't see that report, so I'd have to go back and look at it.
She did not see the report because the report doesn't exist. It was made up by some guest on Tucker Carlson's show, and then Tucker Carlson boosted it into Trump's sphere, and then Trump boosted it to the American people without ever fact-checking it or without ever even caring if it was true or not.
So I can't directly speak to that, but what I can tell you is we've worked very hard on the ground at the RNC to make sure every voter in this country feels like when you cast a ballot, whether it's via mail, whether it's early voting in person, or whether it's on election day in an election office around the country, your vote matters. And
that is so laughable. That is so laughable because throughout the entire 2020 election, Donald Trump very intentionally undermined the safety, the sanctity of mail-in ballots just so that he could act surprised when it inevitably came out after the election that Democrats voted more through mail-in ballot and Republicans barely even voted via mail-in ballot. And then Trump used that as further proof that mail-in ballots are rigged after he came up with the original conspiracy that they were rigged. So he undermined them, made sure Republicans didn't vote via mail-in ballot so that he could undermine them even further. And Laura Trump is BSing when she says that Trump wants everyone to vote the best way possible. This brings us on to Byron Donalds being asked about VP Kamala Harris's identity, specifically Donald Trump's attacks against her identity. And the interesting thing is they try to end this interview about a minute in, and then it continues to go on because it turns into a train wreck. They start to debate, they start to go at each other. Just take a look.
Donalds, there is one more question I have for you. Famously, earlier this summer, Donald Trump made some comments about Kamala Harris's race during the National Association of Black Journalists conference, and he essentially said that she sort of used her blackness to advance her career, saying that he didn't even know that she was black because she didn't put it out there, and I'm paraphrasing his remark there. She said in response that she invited him to say that to her face. Do you think Donald Trump might do that tonight?
Ooh.
No, because this is an issue nobody even really cares about. He mentioned it once, he hasn't mentioned it again. What Donald Trump is focused on is the American people. It's fixing our economy so people can afford food, can afford housing. can get their car fixed, could potentially go on a vacation. It's securing our border so we don't have illegal aliens taking resources from the American people, hardworking American people, Americans who are down on their luck, something's gone wrong in their life and they need help. It is the illegal alien crisis created by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden that's taking those resources away from the...
He just pivoted like Michael Jordan in the 90s. I say that all the time, but he didn't answer the question. He didn't even touch on the question.
The American people. It is fixing our foreign policy because we need leadership in the White House, not pandering and not weakness. And that's what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have brought us. Those are the things that he's going to say to her face. He's not talking about her identity. Frankly, nobody is. She might try to bring it up, but that doesn't matter to the American people. It's one of the reasons why her support in this race might be broad, but it's an inch deep because she's not talking policy. She's not talking about the things that are going to help the American people. And so I'm just telling you now, Donald Trump's going to talk to her about the issues that are going to fix our country and make it great again.
Respectfully, Congressman, he was the one that brought it up initially unprompted. Congressman Byron Donalds, we do appreciate you sharing your perspective. Look forward to having you on again.
Boris, you're wrong about that, but okay. Thank you.
Did he not bring up the issue of her race before anyone else did, suggesting that she used it to her advantage?
It was actually Rachel, Boris, it was actually Rachel Scott of ABC at the National Association of Black Journalists that asked him about whether he thought she was a DEI hire or not. So Rachel Scott is the one that brought race and identity.
She was quoting
into
Republicans who have brought that up.
She asked that question.
She was citing Republicans who have brought that up.
Did Rachel Scott ask that question of Donald Trump or not? Because last time I checked, there's only
did
one
Republicans
Republican
not
nominee,
make that accusation that she's a DEI
bringing up
hire?
a comment that
Did Republicans
another
not?
Republican
Did
said
Republicans
is not the point.
not? It is. It is. If another Republican says something and they're within your party, I think it's fair to ask you what you think about it,
Let's talk about this appropriately now.
We are.
Boris, let's talk about this appropriately. There was one Republican that said it on Capitol Hill. Another Republican was asked about it. They both said, well, I don't know. Yeah, I think she was, when they were asked actually by Manu Raju of your network. So that's exactly what happened. Rachel Scott asked Donald Trump a week later. He made his response. Is he going around in rally after rally or policy speech or doing the podcast interviews he does or network interviews that he does? Is he talking about her identity? No, he is not. He was asked a question by Rachel Scott
because of the blowback that he got for his response.
One member said on Capitol Hill, and now that means all Republicans are asking those questions. Boris, you need to stop that. That's
Sir,
not accurate.
I never said all Republicans.
I
never said all Republicans were bringing it up. Republicans brought it up, and it was.
Byron Donalds turns it into a train wreck and tries to turn Republicans into the victim. As always, I want to show you one more clip of Gavin Newsom.
Kamala Harris has done in the last 8 weeks is unprecedented in U.S. history. She's closed the gap. We're not just within a margin of error. We've expanded the map in the United States. You saw new polls this morning. States that were not even in the conversation. Now Donald Trump has to either defend or he has to go out and invest millions and millions of dollars that we never imagined a few weeks ago. So no, I think the momentum is with us. She's the change candidate. There's a fresh air related to her. There's a stale air of normalcy related to Donald Trump.
Normalcy and regressiveness. If you enjoyed this video, all that I ask is that you leave a like, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button, and have a great rest of your day.